On. Welcome back, guys. Dad and Cole Football Patrol preseason's done. Week 1 is here. Cole, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great. I can't wait for football to start.
I know, man. It's awesome. It's finally back here. So, Cole, here's what we're going to be digging into in our show today. We got a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. You and I recently did a draft, so we're going to do a quick comparison between our squads, and maybe we'll ask the folks out there to rate us, to rank us, and give us some feedback on our picks. Take it easy on us, guys. Be nice out there. Then we're going to do a quick recap of some news and notes from around the league. We're going to talk about the Ravens injuries, what's going on in Baltimore. Oof. We're going to do a quick reaction to the game Thursday night, Cowboys Buccaneers. What an awesome kickoff to the season that was. And then there's 3 games from this weekend slate coming up on Sunday. We're going to do a quick preview. You and I will make our predictions on those games. So, guys, if you're a football fan out there, go ahead and hit subscribe to our channel. Cole and I talk about real NFL football, but we also do some fantasy football crossover as well. So we cover it all. We love covering all 32 teams in the National Football League. I myself am a little bit of a homer for the Eagles, but it's all good. All right, Cole, let's start with your squad.
Okay.
My name's Jeffy. That's the name of your squad. Any thoughts you want to share about the name of your team real quick?
I don't know. I just picked it.
All right, so here we go. Tell the fine folks where you were picking in round number 1 and throughout the remainder of the draft. What was your pick number?
8.
Okay, so 8's a tough spot because you're going to expect the majority of the premier running backs will be gone, even some of the top tier wide receivers. Who did you land with your first pick at number 8?
Zeke.
Yeah, and I was surprised Zeke fell to you. So I thought that was a no-brainer pick by you. Real quick, though, Zeke was challenged on Thursday night. You watched about the first quarter with me, then we had to get you into bed. He didn't get a ton of carries. He had a few catches. It was just a rough night for him. We saw a lot of Tony Pollard, which is a little bit concerning because I have Zeke in another league. Real quick question to you. Was that more a factor of just the Cowboys playing an unbelievable defense and they tried to throw the ball all over the place? Or is there real concern there and Zeke could potentially have issues all season long?
I think that it was the opener and they were playing like coming off the best team in the league and the number 1 ranked rushing defense. So
all right, so you think it was more to do with the situation? That was a 1-week thing and he'll get on track. Boy, I hope you're right. So after that, Cole, you grabbed your blue chip running back with pick number 1. Who'd you come back with your second pick?
Mahomes.
Oh, my goodness, P. Mahomes. Now, listen, for the people out there that would say, boo, you went way too early on a quarterback, what do you say to those people?
I don't want to end up with like a Stafford or something because then you get like no points off of that. But Mahomes is just Mahomes, so you have to kind of go with him.
Mahomes is just Mahomes. I think you summed it up. So just real quick, we're not going to go round by round. We'll just detail some of the other highlights. You got Mostert in there. You got Allen Robinson, Kupp. I love those 2 receivers. Dude, tight end, real quick. Darren Waller could potentially be angling to become the number 1 tight end in football. I don't think that's a shock. He's got that kind of talent. What'd you think about being able to grab Waller?
I think I got him in like the 4th round too, so I kind of snagged him.
True beast. Now you got Hollywood Brown, who I personally think is going to have a big step up this year. Love Washington's defense. Bucker is a kicker. Now let's do a quick scan. Oh boy, great tight end depth. You got Fant, you got Hurts as a backup, great backup. Good move. You got Tony Pollard, so you got some depth there, right? In case Zeke does have issues, you got Pollard. You picked up Lev Bell. I see that. I think you did that because you had Gus Edwards. Am I right on that? Okay, and we're going to talk about the Ravens injuries in a bit. And then rounding out, you got some wide receiver depth with A.J. Green and Russell Gage. So how are you feeling overall about your squad?
You forgot Waddle.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. And you got a good rookie with some strong upside. I worry about skill guys getting a lot of activity with the Dolphins, but he's a blue chip prospect. What are your thoughts on your squad? You loving it? Are you like, I need to see more, or are you concerned?
I don't like my second running back, but I love my receiving core. My defense is really good. My kicker's the best in the league. I have the best quarterback in the league, so I feel pretty good about it.
I think you should feel good about it. I think you did a fantastic job. So let's take a look at my squad real quick. So I was number one overall. So no brainer, McCaffrey, right? I shouldn't have done anything else other than that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now from there, I went. Joe Mixon was my second pick, right? Does that ring a bell to
Yeah.
you? Okay, I went Joe Mixon. And then we'll just round up. I think I grabbed Josh Allen. I reached a little bit from what some people might think, but I, like you, wanted to get a blue chip quarterback prospect, not prospect, a blue chip quarterback as well. I wanted to get one of the elite guys. I grabbed that with Allen. So I got from there, I got Woods and Lockett. I'm feeling good about those guys. Gesicki, feeling okay. Beckham, I don't know. He could wash out entirely or he could regain form. I don't feel great about him. Steelers D, I like. Sanders, I like. You got a kicker with a good run-oriented defensive team. Then from there, we're looking at Damian Harris, Devonta. I talked about big Eagles guys, some upside there. Nyheim Hines, I like. Marvin Jones, Baker Mayfield, Lindsey Chubbard. None of those. Chubbard. I just
What about Hubbard?
Hubbard adds some depth with McCaffrey. My bench is a little thin after, Nyheim Hines and Jones. So not a lot of great stuff going on there. What's your reaction to my squad? Should I feel excited or should I feel a little nervous?
You have two really good running backs. Your wide receivers are good. But I don't like Gesicki personally.
Yep.
And you don't have a second tight end too.
Yeah, I purposely didn't draft one. Right. And my thought on that was I'll just play the waiver wire when it comes time to get a tight end. But that could be a little bit of a dangerous play by me.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts?
Also, I feel like I feel like he's going to be kind of a bust this year.
I worry about that.
Mm-hmm. But Allen, McCaffrey, Mixon, Woods, and Lockett, those are all like really good.
So, guys, leave a comment, leave us some feedback. We're not necessarily looking for you to pit my squad versus Cole's squad.
Oh, we are.
You want to do that? So you want the people to rank your squad versus my squad?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's hear it. Here's a look at my guys again. So Allen, McCaffrey, Mixon, Woods, Lockett, Gesicki, OBJ, Steelers, and Sanders versus Mahomes, Zeke, Mostert, Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Waller, Hollywood, Brown, Redskins, and Butker. Let us know who made out better, who's going to have the better season. We'll see. All right, Cole, so let's move on from there. And look, the Ravens, my goodness, they are just up against it. So I'll just read real quick and then we'll react. Shortly before Thursday's practice, cornerback Marcus Peters was trying to put a positive spin on Baltimore Ravens' injury-filled training camp. Peters talked up running back Gus the Bus Edwards, who was scheduled to be the starter prior to after J.K. Dobbins had suffered a season-ending injury. But then, Cole, what happens? Both Marcus Peters and Gus the Bus Edwards had season-ending ACL injuries. The Ravens in the backfield are a mess right now. So I'm going to ask you this from two different perspectives. First off, real world, just football. Forget fantasy football. Are the Ravens stacked enough? And are they kind of offense where they can overcome any setback at the running back position? How do you feel about their offense overall when you're talking about guys like Le'Veon Bell, Devonta Freeman, and Latavius Murray? They're the three veterans brought in to try and be the running backs. Does it even matter when you have Lamar Jackson and that kind of just great offensive line and sort of dominant run-heavy attack, or are there real concerns here?
I think they are because they're kind of a running team because I feel like they ran to Dobbins a lot, and also Lamar loves doing read options and all.
Absolutely.
So I think that there's some worries there.
Okay.
Because I bet teams will figure out, oh, they're not running the ball because they have three like bad veterans on their team. So they'll just start chucking the ball, and then that won't work out for them.
Yeah, so what you're saying, I think, is even though their system is a dominant, high octane run system, you're saying you can't just plug any old running back in there. You need to have some quality, which Dobbins was, which Edwards was a younger guy was. You need to have a little bit of a premium in that position. It can't just be a plug and play anyone and expect to have the same results. Am I saying that back right to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, from a fantasy perspective, I saw you already dropped Edwards in your squad and you picked up Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Since they did that move, they've also signed Freeman. They've also signed Latavius Murray. Do you want any of those guys at all, or would you rather just stay away from them entirely because you can't expect any one of them to necessarily pop off for you?
I don't think any of them are going to do anything except get like maybe 10 points per game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rotating carousel. Maybe after 2-3 weeks, one of those guys will come to the forefront and establish themselves as the lead back. But good luck.
Still, it'll be like 10 points.
Yeah, and good luck trying to figure out who the heck that would be. Now, last question, then we'll move on from this news. Does this help Lamar Jackson from a fantasy perspective, meaning he's going to possibly do more and run more in the red zone? Or does the lack of a premium guy behind him put more pressure and allow teams to focus more on Jackson because there's not a big name behind him?
Yeah, I think that teams will focus more on Jackson and it'll put him down more because he had like 2 really solid running backs under him. Now he has like 3 like nobodies that you haven't heard of for a while.
I think that's the concern too. All right, so let's move on to our next story. We touched upon this a little bit. We'll just do a quick recap. My goodness, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys went at it in a classic opening night week 1 game, ended with a final second tick away field goal. Final score was 31-29. Dak looked impressive. He did. He was dialed in. The offense is explosive. What's that, buddy?
Barry and CD went off.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly did. Now, Gallup came out of the game with a bit of an injury. Sounds like he's going to be out a few weeks. But I think between the 2 tight ends, the 2 outside receivers, I think they're going to be fine still. Just what do you make of this game? Is there anything you can project forward for the season? Just your quick thoughts in general. I know, admittedly, you only got to watch the first game we had, or first quarter. We had to get you into bed after that. But just looking back on it, any thoughts you want to share?
I think that the Cowboys are going to have a good year because Dak is back healthy. And I think that Amari Cooper could be a top 5 wide receiver this year.
Boy, he certainly looked that way Thursday night. And I will say that I was down on Cooper. I had him last year in fantasy. He's been inconsistent. And I thought with Lamb coming on, with Gallup being there, with the tight ends, that there was just not going to be enough activity to go around. It'll be interesting, though. It could be a scenario, Cole, where each week one guy pops off from the Cowboys, and it's not sustainable that all of them can have big weeks. So we'll see. So great week 1 matchup. Cole, let's take a look to the future and to the slate of Sunday games. And we've identified 3 premier matchups that we want to talk about. First, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers going into hostile Buffalo against the Bills. The Bills are giving 6.5 points, almost an entire touchdown to the Steelers. Cole, do you think the Bills could win by a touchdown? Or do you think it's going to be a closer type of field goal kind of game? And you like the Steelers getting those 6.5 points. What say you, my friend? Which way are you leaning?
I think the Bills are going to win by at least 14 points.
Oh, my goodness. A blow, 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, listen, this line, the fact that they're giving 6.5 points kind of tells me that there could be a bit of a 10-point victory on the line here with that kind of line. You would expect the line to be lower, like 3 points. So when the line's that high, that tells me man, maybe the Bills. Cole, I'm going to go the other way. And let me just say this. I don't feel strong about this pick, but we're forcing ourselves to make a pick. I think the Steelers are balanced. I think Ben seems like he might be rejuvenated. I also think not everything in the NFL is always a straight line up. Sometimes you have rough bounce back seasons. The Bills had a miraculous, incredible year last year. I know they're reloaded and ready to do it again. I would never want to have to give close to a touchdown in points to the Steelers. I think they're just well coached. Tomlin's a brilliant coach. I'm going to go with the Steelers taking the points, but I don't love it. You made an interesting call. You're predicting a blowout. We'll keep for the Bills. Let's keep an eye on that this weekend. Moving on to our next game. Listen, inter-conference game here. We got the AFC Chargers coming into the NFC Washington football team. The beginning of the Fitzmagic era. Washington is a home dog. They are getting 1 point. It's basically a pick 'em here, but Washington getting 1 point as a home dog. I'll turn it over to you. Who are you liking in this game?
I think that Washington is going to win by barely anything.
I agree with you. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think this is going to be a grinder. I like Washington at home. And remember what I said just a moment ago about not everything is a straight line up trajectory for teams that we feel are improving. There's film now. There's tape now on Justin Herbert on his season last year. Defensive coordinators around the NFL have had an entire year to digest his tendencies, things he liked to do well, things that might be an issue for him. Ron Rivera, a defensive guy himself, I think he's going to have a great game plan. I think Herbert might even struggle a little bit, which doesn't mean I don't think he's going to be a good long-term quarterback, but I think he may have issues in this game. You and I both see it the same way, a low-scoring grinder game.
I think it's going to be a low score, like kind of a medium scoring game, because both of these teams have really good defenses and like amazing offenses. So
we'll call, and I know one person out there in our audience, one of our respected folks who likes to check in with us every now and then. BJ, if you happen to hang through all the way to this part of the game, you're probably smiling because we both just picked your squad. I don't want to say good luck to you because you know I'm a Birds fan, BJ. I can't do that, but just enjoy the game. I think Cole and I both see a win for you this coming Sunday, so enjoy that. So let's move on to our final premier matchup we want to talk about. Oh man, does it get better than this? Browns going into hostile Kansas City, two of the more favored teams in the overall NFL landscape. The Browns on the come up, really had a big kind of signature season last year. Chiefs, Cole, this is a playoff rematch, I think. Didn't the Chiefs beat the Browns in the playoffs last year? Do I have that right? Playoffs. So here we go. Chiefs are at home, 6.5 points, giving close to a touchdown to the Browns. What do you feel? Do you feel comfortable that the Chiefs could win by more than a touchdown against the Browns at home?
I think the Chiefs will win by 10 points.
Dude, I kind of see it the same way. And if we know anything about Andy Reid teams, those teams are typically dialed in and ready to explode on week one games. I think about my history with Reid as our Eagles coach, the pickle juice game. I think that was a week one game down in Dallas where we just went down and exploded on them. I think this could be a similar situation here. And I don't think that means that the Browns are doomed and they're potentially not going to get back to the playoffs. I just think it's a tough week one matchup going into Kansas City. What about points-wise? Do you see a lot of points being put up in this game, or do you think it's going to be a tight contest?
I think that there's going to be a lot of points in this game.
I do too.
Both of the defenses are like not amazing.
I agree.
So I think that but both of the offenses are pretty good. So
yeah. All right. Let's ask the fine folks out there. So guys, comment with your picks. So we got Bills giving 6.5 to the Steelers. What side are you on there? Our second game. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Bills.
Our second game, we got Washington getting a point at home against the Chargers. What's your pick there? Leave a comment. And then lastly, we got the Chiefs giving 6.5 to the Browns in Kansas City. What's your pick there? We want to hear from you. Leave a comment. Let us know. And then Cole, just any final thoughts? We're wrapped up on the topics we wanted to cover. Any final thoughts at all you want to share?
I think that the Chiefs are going to win 13 games at least.
Wow. Okay. So you don't see any concern. Remember, you and I have had conversations about the Super Bowl hangover, especially the team that loses can really struggle often. You don't see any issues there.
Nope.
Well, if there's a coach that can keep a team away from the Super Bowl hangover scenario, probably Andy Reid. So listen, guys, what's that, buddy?
Or Belichick.
Or Belichick. Yeah. Well, you're right about that. Guys, Cole and I are thrilled. Football is back. It's great. We can't wait to watch the games on Sunday. Do hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our content this season. Cole, that was a fun one. What do you say? I'll see you on the couch watching the games on Sunday.
No, I'll see you today.
Well, I'll see you all day today. All right, buddy. On the next one. See you, man.